What is up, RotoGrinders? Very special show tonight. The show we do once a year. Basically, once a year, you have a doubleheader for Monday Night Football. That's what we have. First game is 7 o'clock. Second game, 10 o'clock on the East Coast. We're going to talk football. We're going to talk NFL. We're going to talk this two-game slate. Tampa at Houston, and then the Chargers at the Raiders. 2 games in the Dome here for Monday Night Football. And we also have baseball. So how is this going to work? Let's lay it out for the people. Hey, what's up, people? Hit that like button. Do subscribe. Hey, turn on those notifications too. The plan is it's a little bit fluid, but ideally, the idea is we're going to take you guys all the way up to lock for baseball. So we're here for an hour and a half. We're talking NFL. NFL locks first. NFL locks at 7 o'clock on the East Coast. So in theory, we'll see how this goes. If we can go an hour talking some football, and you guys got to participate there in the chat, ask your questions, throw them in the Discord as well. We'll keep an eye on that. But, in theory, about 50 minutes, 55 minutes, an hour of NFL conversation. Then we yield for tonight's baseball slate, which locks at 7:35 on the East Coast. Not a massive slate. I believe it's a 7-gamer. But that is the plan. We're talking both baseball and football, bringing together 2 of the absolute best in the business. We got HeadChopper, who's always here on Mondays. And we brought in Tim, TastefulTides, my partner on Sundays for the 9:30 in the morning show, the People Show, when we talk about some football. Tim, how was welcome to the show? How did your football go yesterday? We don't like to be we like to be forward thinking, and it was a bad day for your boy. I think every one of my lineups, I don't like a lot, but there's a bunch of stinkers. We start back up at 0 again today, which I'm thankful because I'd be way behind if we used yesterday's scores. How about yourself? Hopefully you somebody, maybe I don't know if Bobby's out there lurking. Somebody did well on yesterday's People Show. It was not me.
I did not do well, Dean, at all. Especially, definitely not on the main slate. Definitely whiffed on Elite Neighbors. I think I poo-pooed him on the show, being like, "Why are Sims giving so much Elite Neighbors?" Really, really bad take by me. Like, absolutely horrible. I didn't really trust that Detroit-Chicago game either. Even though Robodunze was so cheap and he was such a smash play, but I just, it was bad. I tried game stacking Miami, New England, which if you looked at the box score, you'd think that was awesome, but it was absolutely it was absolutely terrible. So not a really good day for me. I did make some of my money back in Showdown last night, but main slate was terrible.
Yeah, I did. The Henrys did me in. The Henrys, King Henry, Derrick Henry, Hunter Henry, anybody named Henry was terrible to me yesterday. And I played that Trevion Henderson as well in New England. I had some pieces of that game too, and some punt returns, several special team touchdowns. That game did get loose, but was not incredible necessarily in the box score. How about yourself, Chop? How was football for you yesterday? Your Cowboys got a win. That was an eventful game. You probably don't want to struggle that hard at home versus the Giants. And you know what? Shout out to Russ Wilson. We kind of besmirched them a little bit on the People Show. We gave his nickname a tier 5, Mr. Unlimited. He was a little limited at the end, but the box score was pretty spectacular. A duck he threw up at the end that to give you guys the victory. Shout out to you, Cards, Chop. But any thoughts on yesterday's football? Any? Did you have any winners? Did you the 3 of us? Did we do anything DFS wise, or was just a stinker across the board?
I did really good on Saturday.
College.
Yeah, did really good on Saturday. So I was happy with that. I just kind of rode that momentum into Sunday, and Sunday morning I was looking really good. I was looking really good there for a while, and then I don't really know. I wasn't scoreboard watching, so I really don't know how I got caught, but I did, and so I certainly didn't win anything substantial. But I was good weekend overall. Good Saturday and almost a really good Sunday, but. I don't know what happened, but maybe it was Jonathan Taylor or something. I didn't have much of him, and he went crazy. There was a lot of guys that went crazy there. But, that Cowboys game was really offensive-minded. I did not Russ was Neighbors for sure. I had Neighbors.
Oh, yeah.
Neighbors was an easy one. Wandale Robinson, or, before I knew how to pronounce his name, I thought it was Wandale for a while. Wandale Robinson. He went crazy, man. Like I wasn't expecting that. So, but all told, and also a lot of people told me Javonte was washed. Javonte Williams looks pretty darn good, Dean. I'm not going to lie to you. Looks pretty good.
Is he just going to score 2 touchdowns? Or I think Sanders got in the box the second time, right? I think he siphoned the second one, but he got another rushing touchdown.
Yeah. It broke off a long one, too. That's that 33-yard touchdown for Javonte against the Giants was longer than any run for the Cowboys last year. So he looks pretty sharp, man. He's breaking tackles. As long as his body holds up, he'll be all right. But I got a feeling he's taking too much contact.
Well, he's had a weird story, right? Because coming out the gate, he was one of the the biggest prospects in football.
He was elite.
Monster injury took him a couple of years to come back, and maybe he's not what he ever was supposed to be at his peak, but maybe he's good now. We'll see. Keep an eye on it. I was also told the Giants were good defensively, at least the front seven.
They were scary. I watched the game as a fan, right, Dean? I watched the game and I was scared of that. I was scared of that front line, and I think they kind of did pretty good, But the Cowboys' young offensive line was pretty good too. I'm a lot higher on the offensive line than most people are for the Cowboys. So, yeah, I think it was a pretty good matchup right there. We'll see how it turns. Moving forward, the Giants will be they're a tough team. They're going to be really tough if they make these. Man, we ain't got time for all this, Dean. But they need to switch to Jackson Dart or do something there, man. I don't think Russ is going to keep that kind of play. They can be kind of scary if they let Scatterby.
It's hard to bench Russ though after that game. Russ was pretty good.
Point,
you can't bench him now.
No, you can't bench him now. But
you should. But
I'm watching. Yeah. I'm looking at it. I'm going, damn. I would rather see. If I'm the opposing team and I'm rooting for the opposing team, I would rather see Tyrone Tracy carry the ball than Scatterby. That's number one. And and so I think they're letting a couple guys on they've got a couple guys on the bench that could probably help them more than their starters. And we'll see how it goes. But we got too much, Dean. Come on, can't be.
And their third string quarterback chopped their third. I started a petition. I'm trying to get the Bengals to trade for Jameis. How much fun would the Bengals be with Jameis? That'd be amazing.
The Giants would be amazing with Jameis, but
anybody would be amazing with Jameis.
That would be pretty elite. Chase and Higgins being thrown to by Jameis. Yeah, incredible. They should. I'm telling you, what are the Giants actually smart or not in the front office? Because if they're smart, they would absolutely capitalize on having a third quarterback that's actually pretty sought after. And I've heard the Bengals were after some quarterbacks right now, through the rumor mill on the TV this morning. The Bengals
are like Kirk Cousins or something like that, which is like, who wants that?
Dude, I don't. That'd be garbage. But so maybe they're on to Jameis. Who knows?
All right. Just wanted to kind of wet the beak and get people's thoughts as far as the weekend. And again, 2-gamer tonight and different. We typically they overlap. Remember they used to overlap. Not tonight. Not tonight. 7:00 on the East Coast. Tampa Bay at Houston. 42.5 is a total. Houston is a slight favorite here at home. Chargers at the Raiders, both games in the Dome, so don't worry about weather. That's the game with expecting more points. Chargers looked great in week 1. And this is the weird thing. It's like, wow, look at the Chargers. They took down the Chiefs. And maybe the Chiefs aren't that good. We're not sure. We don't really know just yet. But, they won week 1. And that was in Brazil, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. They took down the Kansas City. They're now 0-2 after losing to Philly, which, by the way, Kansas City and Philly, why are they both so boring? That was a snoozer. We don't have time to get into a chop, but man, what a snooze fest those two teams put on.
Petition to outlaw the tush push, Dean. I've had enough of it now.
Wow. Really?
I was always for pro, let them do whatever.
Boring. It's not
the boring part of it. It's the I think it's probably illegal, Dean, what they're doing. I think it's probably illegal.
Gray area.
You don't like how the guards can just jump the play?
Not only jump the play, yesterday I saw him literally, it was like how you do a keg stand at a frat house? That's how they had Jalen Hurts yesterday. 2 guys had him by the legs, and the offensive line had him by the shoulders, and they were just kind of carrying him along. Like his feet weren't even on the ground. That might be bordering on illegal.
We have a poll now in the chat. Let's see if the chat's going to speak on it. Should the tush push be banned? Yes or no? Well, the other thing that's interesting is Philly still is the best team at executing it. Other teams try and to different degrees, but it's not fun. It's not entertaining. But okay, let's let the chat speak on that. Tim, we're gonna go. I want to go position by position. I want an overview conversation as well. Obviously, I imagine you're mostly focusing on single entry stuff. Is that where we're at?
Yeah. I'm actually I can talk about cash games. I'm not actually going to play cash tonight, but yeah, I'm just going to be playing single entry stuff, three max stuff.
Give me your general approach. We have one clear and obvious best tight end. We're assuming Bowers is going to go. Like, he's questionable and all the stuff. But like all signs point to him playing. He's going to playing in the later game. But unless there's some kind of weird setback and warm ups or whatever, he's expected to go. And then like he's clearly in his own tier of his own because Bowers versus Otten versus Schultz, Disley or Conklin. He's very clearly the top tight end. Running back falls off pretty quickly. The two rookies, Hampton and Genty, going at each other. Chubb, not exciting, but the top guy right now in the Houston organization as far as running backs. What a mess they are. The bad offensive line as well. And then Bucky looks like probably the best running back, depending on. And then quarterbacks are pretty flat to me. I think the quarterbacks are pretty flat. Certainly somebody can separate themselves from the field, but to me, it's fairly flat. I don't look the projections put up right in front of me, but I would imagine that Herbert is projected to score the most raw points. But to me, it wouldn't shock me if any of these quarterbacks are the top scoring quarterback. Tim, give me the overview, the screenshot, how you're seeing tonight's 2-game slate.
Yeah, quarterback is super flat. They're all within basically 3.5 points of each other in projection, and within 8% of each other in projected ownership. So it doesn't seem like we're going to get a huge amount of chalk, and I don't think we're not really getting anybody that really stands out in a huge way in terms of raw points. I'm pretty sure that Justin Herbert is going to be the highest owned. I mean, he looked so great last week. And he's got rushing upside as well. So if you are playing cash tonight, I would definitely play Justin Herbert at 5,900. I think I'm kind of surprised that he isn't projected further away from these other quarterbacks in terms of raw points. And then I think if I wanted to get, you're not going to be able to get super, super different because it's only 2 games. All these quarterbacks are going to be owned. If you're making a portfolio of teams, I would get exposure to all these guys. But I do think that actually Baker Mayfield is my next favorite quarterback at 6,500. I think that he's actually going to be the lowest owned quarterback just because of the price. He is the most expensive. And I do think that Geno and CJ Stroud are going to be played a little bit more than Baker. And I do like Baker just because I like his weapons. So we'll talk about that game. But I would rank them Herbert, Mayfield, Geno, and Stroud.
How about Chop? How do you feel about that? I'm looking at ownership stuff, by the way, and it is, again, pretty flat. We're expecting Herbert at 32%, give or take. And then Mayfield, Stroud, Geno, this is DK for what it's worth, all in the low 20s. It's just pick your quarterback. They're all kind of sort of somewhat the same. And none of them really scoot a ton, but Herbert can move the most amongst these 4. Actually, we saw Mayfield move a bit last year, more so than we've seen in seasons past. But I think Herbert probably the most fleet of foot, so you're going to pick one of these guys. Chop, how are you seeing the overview? Do you have a favorite as far as quarterback? How many lineups you making today? We going MME? We going just a couple? By the hand? Are we making hitting the button, having the computer do it for us? The old lineup HQ. What's the approach tonight?
20 lineups on each side, Dean. Just shits and giggles,
That's not hand, right? That's not by hand.
No, I'm not doing that by hand. No.
Okay. In theory, that's like in the gray area where maybe you can do 20 by hand.
There's way too many clicks for a 2-game slate by hand. I'm not. No.
You got things to do. Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, we're past that point, Dean. 20 lineups. The macro view, Dean, the overview, the big one from way above is, to me, it just jumps out as one game looks good and one game does not look good, in my opinion. The first game on the board, I don't know how everybody else sees it. To me, I look at Tampa and Houston, I say, man, there's a lot of flaws to that game offensively. Then I look at the other game and I say, that one just looks a lot better. And the players line up and the projections line up that way too. So hopefully that's not the super chalky way to go because that's how I see it. But, we can dig into it and figure it out. But I definitely prefer the late night hammer to that early game that's coming up.
I feel the same way as you. And you're talking about flaws. I think the most obvious flaw, and you're probably referencing, is that Houston offensive line, right? Just in part, just they get no respect. It's one of those things you don't notice them until they're screwing up, that kind of deal. If the line's not blocking, though, basically everything falls apart. And who knows how good that run game can be with Chubb back there. Just Mixon obviously donezo for, I don't know, the season. We'll see. He's dealing with that foot, mysterious injury, mysterious surgery. But the running game, a kind of disaster there for Houston. I did like the thought process Tim kind of threw out there. Tampa Bay, you kind of sort of know it's going to be Evans. Igbuka looked spectacular in his first game, won a couple of balls down the field. As far as Houston, Collins obviously is the alpha. And then you have a bunch of like darts, like who knows, with Hutchinson and Higgins, the rookies, Noel, Schultz. It's just nothing really feel comfortable about. And that's probably what's going to win this slate is like the fringe, like which one among Hutchinson, Higgins, Dante Thornton, somebody goofy like that is who's that guy that catches, the 30-yard touchdown, that kind of thing. It could be the separator tonight. But Chop, you said your favorite quarterback. I agree with you, by the way. I do agree that the Charger Raider game looks much more appealing. And, Vegas is agreeing, but not to the extent that it sounds like you feeling to this. I feel the same way. I feel much better about Raiders Chargers, and I can see that game, putting up 55 plus points or something like that. And I can see Houston and Tampa Bay going, 2017 or something like that, and Houston struggling. Tim, what is your approach? You don't have to give away your lineup tonight, but how extreme are we when it comes to building your lineup? How much are we forcing stacks? Are we talking onslaughts? If you had Detroit onslaught yesterday, you probably felt pretty good. Anybody in the Lions? The Lions went for the throat, man. They were up like 4 touchdowns, and like they threw the ball on 4th down for like 5 minutes to go. They really don't like that Ben Johnson, huh? I don't know what was going on there, but that was the old sweep.
They were making a statement because their week 1 performance was so bad. I think that's all they were doing. Yeah. I think that's all they were doing, to be honest with you. And they did, right? I mean, they really shut up a lot of people. So
okay, I see you, Lions. Yeah. And then the transitive property, like, man, the Packers look great, right? How about those Packers? Packers look spectacular. And the Bears. Oh boy. Tough. It's a tough 0-2. All right. Tim, are we forcing onslaughts? Do we like onslaughts? Are we doing skinnies? Is it sort of like a influx? Is it up in the air? What is our approach as far as our lineups?
Yeah, right now I'm not getting to any onslaughts, but I mean you definitely have to have some onslaughts if you're making multiple teams tonight. I mean, I think that's kind of a no-brainer. It's a good way to get different people aren't really comfortable onslaughting. So I would really take advantage of getting as different as you can on a slate like this. I don't know if you guys remember, this was like the 2-gamer that Squirrel Patrol won $1 million on because he started a backup. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's the kind of things that you need to do if you want to solo ship, a huge large field GPP like tonight. So, I mean, it's really, you can get as creative as you want. And I think the pricing, Ruthless Villain just said in the chat, and I agree, pricing is really, really soft.
It's so easy to get all the pieces
you want. It's really easy to get what you want. It's really easy to eat salary because you could still play the guys that you want. You don't have to max out 100% of your cap. So, I would really pursue getting as exotic as you can. But I mean, for someone who's playing a type of contest like me, it's like some of the smaller field single entry stuff, I'm looking to play. I mean, it's probably going to be a Herbert double, but I mean, you could really double any of these quarterbacks. I mean, I would just try to go after as much ceiling as you possibly can and hope that you can, finish in the top 1%.
What I heard you say, Tim, I heard everything. What I really heard you say is play Dare Ogunbowale. Is that what we're doing? Playing the backup running back here for Houston. I see TJ hanging out in chat talking about Woody Marks, another backup running back for Houston.
I have so much of Woody Marks in best ball.
So do I.
Just
waiting for it to happen.
I have too much Woody Marks in best ball.
I probably have too much. His real name is Jaquavius.
Jaquavius Marks?
Yeah, Woody's just a nickname.
Where did
Didn't know
he go to where did he go to college, Chop?
USC. He started
There you
out
go.
Mississippi State, transferred to USC. He was pretty good. Got the nickname Woody because he liked Toy Story so much.
I don't know if he's being truthful or not.
Yeah, this kind of
Who
smells
loves
like a
Toy
chop.
Story?
This smells like a chop fact.
I don't think that's true.
All you have to do is Google.
Hashtag chop facts right here.
Google is your friend, brother.
I don't. Well, what do you like, Buzz Lightyear anywhere? It wasn't any more. Who was the more popular? Toy Story wasn't really my jam, but who was the most popular character on Toy Story? Was it Woody? That was Tom Hanks, right? Buzz Lightyear was.
I would assume it's Woody.
Yeah, maybe. I'm going to give it a Google. Now, it's 50-50. It could go either way. I genuinely have no idea if Chop is telling the truth here. A couple other rookies that Chop is familiar with, Genty and Hampton. How do you feel about the running backs, Chopper? And if you're going to pick one of these backup du jours, it's Najee Harris. Can he see now? What's the story here? Zamir White, probably not the route they're going to go. Maybe I think Rashad White is probably the most interesting backup. And Dari, I was kind of sort of half joking, but kind of sort of somewhat interesting. I don't really know what to do with that backfield. It's pretty much a mess, but I guess he can catch a ball. How extreme are you getting with these backup running backs, Chopper? If at all.
How extreme?
Yeah. Do you like any of them?
No. Backup running backs?
Yeah. Well, you have 20 lineups. You might get a sprinkle.
Let me see here. Genty, Irving. Nah, that's not really my. Hold on, Dean. I'm going to post something for you in chat. That's not really my jam, Dean. I'll say this much, okay? Now listen up, Dean. Listen up. Don't be reading in chat right now. I want you to listen up for a second.
I'm listening.
I did these shows for years. With Squirrel Patrol. Shout out for Squirrel Patrol, man, right? Like I did these things for years before they untimely canned him. That's a whole different cup of tea right there. And man, I tell you, the good thing about doing the shows, and I always said it, you just learn so much from the smart people you're working with. I could just, and he taught me so much, man, just listening to him every week, do that on the Showdown shows, talking about what he did. And one thing he always said, I would always ask him, are you stacking tonight? There's only 2 games or there's only 3 games, whatever it is. And he would say, I'm stack more on the short slates. Like he jams in more on the short slates. And I was like, it was so counterintuitive to me, but it's so smart. And we did the show the night he won the $1 million. And I was like, damn, I didn't even get a piece of that or nothing, but that's okay. That's all right, Squirrel. So like he jams in the stacks and it stuck with me. And you do that. Now I just don't have to me, I just can't do the whole backup running back thing. I can jam in some stacks. You can lead me that way and you can, teach me that method, but I'm just not on the. I want my lineups to be like, I don't want to have something crazy can happen. Sure, Russell Wilson can turn back the hands of time and go for 500 yards. That's not so far fetched that I can't play it. I could play that, but I can't play like, well, one running back's going to go out there and get hurt, and so now I'm going to depend on. I can't play that angle, so I won't have any backup running backs. But the game stacking thing, I do love.
I mean, the Russ thing is he has to beat. I understand what you're referencing, but he's got to beat 11 other games, right? This is just one game goes bad, and then okay, less goofy things have to happen for you to get there. It's not necessarily you need to put up a monster score, just a bigger score than the other players. There's only so many players, so just like in baseball, we'll talk about baseball in a second. Like the smaller the slate, the goofier you can get in baseball and tell yourself a story. And out of nowhere, just anybody can get there on any given night. Did you give your favorites running backs, Chop, like amongst Genty, Hampton, Irving? I assume that those are probably your top 3. I imagine so.
My favorite running back on this slate, and pretty much any slate he's going to be on for the foreseeable future, and you asked me that question, is Omarion Hampton. Oh. I think he's the best. I think he is. He was the second best running back to Genty, but he was a really close to him. I think he's that good coming out of college. I think he's in a perfect spot. I think he's light years ahead of Najee Harris. And I would expect that he's going to blow up at some point so big that he starts winning GPPs, and I want to be on it before that. Now, if he goes another 3 or 4 weeks and he's not getting the volume I think he should be getting and all that other stuff, then I can readjust. But for the foreseeable future, any slate he's on, Hampton's my favorite.
Interesting. All right. And he's also the cheapest amongst I would say the big three, Genty, Hampton, and Bucky as well. Let me pull up ownership. I think he is the most owned as well, which we kind of check out. Let's see. Well, we got Bucky currently at 62%, Hampton at 60%, Genty around 58%. And it's not hard to get all three. If you want to get all three, you can do that. Chop, question for you. When you built your 20 lineups, how much leeway did you leave? How much money did you leave on the board to get a little bit different? Because, again, you can just make these superstar lineups and do like 1v1s and 2v2s off of that and roll in like the cheap receivers, and we'll see which one hits. Did you leave $1,500? How much salary did you allow to possibly open the door for a little bit goofier, a random play that, it could be the dart that's necessary to take stuff down?
Not much, Dean. I didn't leave a lot of salary on the table. I feel like I got different by taking combinations of players that you wouldn't normally, like the whole stacking thing. Like, take four to five players from the same team. Like nobody wants to do that, and I can still use up a lot of salary. I could have a lineup. I have a bunch of lineups where defense, and that's really the way I'm playing this anyway. Like, defenses literally don't matter. So like I could have four guys on offense and take the opposing defense because I don't think it mattered. Like, if nobody scores a touchdown tonight on defense, I'll be different, and nobody wants to run stuff like that. And so it wasn't a salary thing for me tonight that I left on the table. It was just taking some very unique combinations.
All right. By the way, if you guys are joining us middle of the show, you're wondering if there's baseball. We generally talk baseball on this time. Just one night a year. You have that doubleheader for the NFL. NFL lock 7 o'clock on the East Coast. Baseball lock 7:35. We're talking NFL up to around 7. Then we're going to yield and talk a little bit of baseball. We'll take you up to NFL lock if necessary. Fire up your questions, because once we get through this football conversation and there's no questions in chat, we are going to pivot to baseball. That will be happening. All right. Just wanted to let you guys know what's going on. Hit that like button. Do subscribe. Turn on notifications as well. Tim, what do you have as far as running back to our big running back takes? Otherwise, feel free to pivot to receiver.
Yeah, I think that Genty is probably my favorite running back overall. I like the game environment a little bit more. I mean, obviously, you're playing Bucky and Genty pretty much everywhere anyway. But I think if I had to choose one, if it was like a pick 'em, I would go Genty tonight. But I mean, really, we'll move on to wide receiver, because wide receiver is like the only position that's like somewhat interesting tonight, because quarterback and running back, it's pretty dry. It's like, let's just admit it. But wide receiver, there's a few different ways you can go about it. And this is like where you can really get kind of different with your lineups, because it's not straightforward. There's plenty of guys that you can actually play. So I think we could start at the top. We could go, Nico Collins at 7,300. It's not in our favorite game, but I mean, I think that price is just really, really solid. It's a great price. It's a pretty good matchup. I think he's probably the top overall, raw point wide receiver, but it's not. It's pretty close. We could get to guys like Ladd. We can get to guys like Mike Evans. There's this really, really strong mid-range too. Aguka, Jacoby Myers, Keenan Allen. How many people, are people going to go back to Quentin Johnson after his huge performance in week 1? Or is that going to feel like chasing? I'm not really sure. And then, there are a few guys in the 3K range that you can conceivably play tonight. And I think you could play them as one-offs, or you can play them as part of a stack.
Chop, jump in here. Your assessment as far as receivers. Currently the most popular receiver that I'm seeing right now in DK, about 54% Ladd, 51% Collins, 50% Myers. Myers getting basically the rainbow here in lineup HQ. A lot of players have tagged Myers. Pretty cheap price there. Pretty reasonable, 4.9K. Like we said, it's really not that hard. Like, you punt off basically one position, you can kind of sort of get essentially whatever you want. It's even easy to pay up for Bowers. We'll talk about tight ends in a second. There's a question about the Bowers, and I think it's worth talking about when we get there. Chop, talk about your receiving pool. And I guess to your point, I can see you making lineups with both. It's not you're choosing between Evans and Igbukwe. You're probably playing both in a number of lineups with the onslaught mentality and just you didn't say that was necessarily your favorite game, your favorite offense, right? But certainly if Tampa lights up the scoreboard, both those guys can get there pretty easily. Chop, how are you seeing receivers tonight? And I did want to, this is like up top and in the middle. I wanted to see what you guys have as far as your favorite cheapie, but let's avoid the cheapies for now. Chop, receivers.
Yeah. So you say you were talking a minute ago about backup running backs. I would prefer to forego the backup running back and instead play what I would almost classify as a backup wide receiver. That's the way I would rather play my lineups. So I think with wide receivers, you have an actual chance of scoring that one touchdown that could just somehow vault that guy into the optimal. And if it's a low scoring slate and things like, and I just think that's more realistic than the running back role. So yeah, I got plenty of cheap guys, and I like taking maybe two, maybe even three if I avoid the running back from the same team, a 2 or a 3 wide receiver / tight end stack. I like all that stuff. But as far as individual wide receivers, Lab McConkey's awesome. Always going to be, he's just got it, man. And he's got a good quarterback and good system. So Lad's always going to be at the top. Myers is cheap. He's chalky. I get it. I can certainly build lineups without him if I have to. I feel a lot easier about fading him than McConkey. That's for sure. Nico, I'm worried about. I'm going to play him tonight. I had such high hopes coming into the year, but this is a big test for us as fantasy players to see how he does tonight. It's a new offensive coordinator. We were led to believe that this guy was sharp enough to really get Nico great looks and all this, but it didn't happen in week 1. But maybe that was just a tough defense. Well, this isn't as tough of a defense, so we're going to learn a lot about Nico, Stroud, the offensive line, and the offensive coordinator tonight. So I'm interested in that aspect of it. Mike and Igbukwe are awesome. At some point, Mike Evans, you would think, Father Time catches up. I hadn't done it yet, but maybe it's time. Maybe this year. So I think those guys are both really good. Keenan Allen, I thought was washed last year, looked great in week 1. I can certainly fade him because I think on that scale, I think he's closer to washed than actually really good. So I could play that aspect. And then by the same token, there's Quentin Johnson. Don't overreact to week 1. I don't think that's who he is. He had last year. He had a week or two where there were big weeks. He would follow it up with 6 or 7 or 8 weeks of nothing burgers. So he could certainly fall into that slump right now. And so Quentin Johnson, I don't have to chase. Cheapies like Trey Tucker. I mean, in week 1, two passes. He caught 2 passes, and that's going to be like his typical MO. 1, 2, or 3 catches, but he found the end zone in week 1. That could certainly happen again. And if that happens at his price tag on a low scoring slate, that's the kind of guy that could win you a lot of money. So Trey Tucker's in there. For Houston, if they can't get the ball to Nico, Xavier Hutchinson is a guy that I'm pretty high on. They actually, Houston has 3 guys from the same college that played wide receiver. All of them are, acceptable plays to me tonight. So yeah, I don't know, man. That's kind of where I'm at with most of those guys. Favorite being McConkey. Myers probably the second most reliable. Igbukwe and Evans I think are on the same level as far as reliability tonight, and then the rest of them I have question marks about.
Tim, give me your favorite dart, your favorite cheapie. I guess starting with Tucker. He ran a lot of routes opening week, on the field a lot of exercising, as Rebar would say. Not a huge projection, but he's 3-4. He can get there in one play. Thornton, Hutchinson, Shepard for Tampa Bay.
Shepard's my favorite, Dean, at 3,100. Okay. He's the guy that I had circled, but I mean, all these guys, Hutchinson, Thornton, Tucker, all viable. I completely would agree with what Chop said. This is the place, this is the position to get really creative. I mean, yes, we know that Squirrel won $1 million playing a backup running back. He's an absolute legend, but I think this is you have a better chance here to get really unique with your lineups, take some chances, eat some salary. Instead of playing the, let's say, guy in the 4K range, you go down below to one of these guys in the 3K range. Shepard would be my favorite. we're projecting him for right around 5% ownership. I don't anticipate him getting much higher than that. So I think these are interesting ways to get different with your lineup. Shepard had 6 targets last game, caught 3 balls. You're really just hoping that one of these guys kind of just falls into the end zone, right? It's almost like you're playing showdown, right? You're just kind of hoping that one of your cheap guys gets the random, TD here. But Shepard is my favorite.
I saw people in chat they were asking about showdown content. We have showdown content, of course, on the site. We don't have a showdown show because we're doing this show. Chop typically is doing showdown shows twice a week, right, Chop? I think twice a week. Is that correct?
The schedule is to be determined moving forward, but usually, like last year, it was Mondays and Thursdays. Yeah.
All right, Tim, are you playing FanDuel by chance? Are you playing FanDuel tonight?
Yeah, I'm going to be playing a single entry.
Okay, yeah. So there was a question in chat, and when they say blue site, that's what that means, right? FanDuel's the blue site.
Yeah, that's flying our site. Yeah, it's FanDuel. Yeah.
Anything over there specifically on FanDuel that kind of stands out a little bit different than DK? More of a touchdown site. The PPR guys are not as appealing. Theoretically, players like Derrick Henry are better players over in FanDuel. Of course, you've run for 0 yards, still doesn't matter. I'm not bitter about yesterday, but. Yeah, anything you're seeing different as far as the slate tonight, distinctly different, or is it essentially the same, FanDuel versus DK?
It's honestly, it's very, very similar. Like, it's really similar. Like, Jacoby Myers is 67 on FanDuel, so he's not as strong of a play, but he's still a really, really strong play on FanDuel. In terms of price discrepancies, anything that's like a vastly different, I don't think so. It's there. It seems pretty soft over here as well.
All right. We see our guy, Eric, in chat saying, I'm playing all the Harrison Bryant Kaplen in Showdown. Okay. Is that something that is Harrison Bryant? That's a good segue, I suppose, to tight ends, Tim. I kind of talked about very clearly, the separator there. For the Raiders, Brock Bowers very clearly ahead of projection-wise, Disley and Conklin and Schultz and Otten. I guess Harrison Bryant, there's your backup tight end. He'll probably be in the field a little bit, I suppose. I guess he can catch a touchdown. Is he on your list? I'm guessing he's not, especially if you're only making one lineup. But I guess not playing Bowers is a really bold move if you're playing single entry because it's just so easy to get him. I just am going to play him. I think I'm just going to play him because he's so much better. Raw points wise, even if he doesn't quote unquote get there salary wise, right? He could beat everybody else by 5 points and still not be amazing.
This reminds me of when Travis Kelce was in his prime, right? 4 or 5 years ago. And it was like he was so far ahead of everyone else at tight end, you basically had to play him. This is a very, very similar situation. He is, $2,800 more expensive than the next tight end. He's projected for close to 10 points more than the next tight end. I think we do need to touch on that question from Jim in YouTube chat.
Michael Mayer.
This pertains to Brock Bowers. Is he banged up? Do you think he'll be limited? Can I play Meyer with him or, in place of him? I think if he goes, he's not going to be limited. And you're only going to be playing Meyer with Bowers in a Geno double. But I would not play Meyer on the assumption or, that Bowers is somehow going to be limited. I think assuming he's playing tonight, I'm just going to assume he's a full go. And at 6,300, I mean, what if he only does get 80% of his regular workload? I don't really care. I think he's still an absolute smash.
People are complaining that he's not on the field enough as is, but he's clearly the most talented guy. But I think the move is, if you're not playing Bowers, just play one of the Raiders tight ends. I have no issue playing Mayer. And they play them both. Mayer has got some draft equity to him, and they seem to like him. And there was all that stuff during preseason, oh my God, Mayer's playing over Bowers, too many snaps. Chop, your thoughts as far as tight ends. Are you overthinking it or you're not overthinking it? Of your 20 lineups, how much Bowers do we have? 80%?
I don't know. I'd have to go back and look at it. I did them this morning, but I'll say this much. So I'm certainly not fading Bowers, but I do kind of disagree a little bit with Tim on that aspect of it, that there is a chance that he couldn't be active and still be used as as a decoy and just be active just to be somewhat of a decoy, and the snaps be a little bit limited and the actual target share be limited because they don't actually want him with the ball in his hands. Right there's a chance that happens. Like they did a study on that a couple years ago. Guys who are actually questionable off of injury have, by the position, have such a dip in production the following couple of weeks until they heal up, that there is a significant, there's something there. So, when you saw him last week come off the field, it wasn't like him just flaking out. He was legit hurt. And from what I've been reading in Saturday, he went through drills. He looked fine, but he had a brace on and a knee sleeve on. Anything like that in the NFL can limit you. So, point being, I'm playing Bowers in plenty of lineups, but there is definitely a path where you could fade Bowers. He's just a decoy, and Michael Mayer or Trey Tucker or Dante Thornton is like totally has an eruption game because Bowers is just a decoy. So I think
what about Mayer and Bowers on the same team, Chop?
That one I wouldn't
nuts.
do.
I don't think it's really bonkers.
I wouldn't do that one. I mean, maybe, I don't know. Like, I think if you think Bowers is going to be fine tonight, you play Bowers just normal way. But if you think Bowers is a little bit limited and maybe that ups Mayer, then I think I push the X button on him for that set of lineups and get him out of there, and then get my other Raiders in there that I think are going to prosper in the event that Bowers is just a decoy.
He seemed to be ruled in pretty quickly. Like, it's not like it's questionable up to the start of the game. So I assume he's mostly fine. That's sort of my assessment.
I do too, or else I wouldn't play. But I'm just letting you know that he has a brace on his leg, and there is an injury there. It's not a fake. Nobody's faking it out. And in the NFL, if you're even limited from 100% normally down to 90%, that could be such a substantial drop off in the NFL that your production could wane so much. So I'm just throwing it out there, Dean. We're talking 2 games here, brother.
No, and the other approach is, I think the best pivot, like you'll play Bowers. It's not Schultz. It's not Otten. It's not Disley. It's not Conklin. It's Mayer. I think Mayer is the best pivot. His team.
If you think Bowers is limited somehow, absolutely, I would agree. Mayer was a really good prospect coming out, and somehow
second rounder.
They just wrote him. He was a first rounder, I believe.
First rounder.
I think he was taken right ahead of or right behind Dalton Kincaid in the first round. Like, he had a lot of high hopes, and they never really let him have a chance. So, I mean, he has something to him. So, yeah, I think that's a great direct pivot off of Bowers.
Again, once we finish the football conversation, once the questions dry up, and feel free to fire up some questions, happy to answer them up to 7 o'clock, 15 minutes until NFL does lock. We are going to pivot and talk about some baseball tonight, 7-gamer. Spencer Steer was scratched, by the way. Yeah, they're talking about that question there. Doug, we just answered that as far as the, Bowers. Well, I feel like Bowers plus another tight end. Oh, yeah. Okay, I got you. You're asking a different question. Yeah, Tim, how do we feel about Bowers plus a different tight end? Again, certainly Otten and Schultz and one of Disley or Conklin. I'm not sure who's 1 and 1A, 1B. Basically the same guy, essentially, as far as I see it. Double tight end in general, just Bowers and somebody else. Then you could just go full stars because of how the cap is, and you can get yourself, at least 2 of Genty, Hampton, Irving, probably 2 of, Evans, Igbuka, Collins. It's not very difficult to do that if you're flat out punting the second tight end. Is that an approach you've considered?
I think if you're hunting for a ceiling, I prefer you go wide receiver in the flex. I'm getting 65% of wide receiver in the flex in the sims that I ran before the show. And I think that makes a ton of sense. Like, if you're hunting for a floor, I think some of these tight ends are interesting in the flex. But in terms of overall ceiling, I like wide receiver a lot more because there's just so many, there's so much home run potential with some of those cheap wide receivers that I just don't necessarily see with tight end. So I prefer going wide receiver. And a lot of those cheapy wide receivers are not going to be highly owned. So I'm not too worried about your lineup getting duped if you go cheap wide receiver in the flex.
Tim, I got a FanDuel question for you from We Major. Favorite MVP for Showdown on FanDuel, Tampa and Houston. Now I know you're playing on FanDuel. I'm not sure if you're in the showdown streets. Talking specific as far as Tampa and Houston, your favorite MVP would be who?
Yeah, I'd probably go. Man, it's close. I think I'm going to go Bucky.
Yeah,
I think it's Bucky. FanDuel is so touchdown dependent. Like it's always safer to go one of these QBs, but I think I prefer Bucky tonight.
Chop, I got a 2v2 for you from Derek. This is DK DraftKings GPP, like a deep field, one of these large contests. Collins, Disley versus Hutchinson and Bowers. Collins and Disley versus Hutchinson and Bowers.
Under the assumption that Bowers is going to be okay tonight and do normal things, I would take the Bowers side of it. But I think it's a lot closer tonight because of that injury. And I'm interested in Collins. But I'll say the Bowers side because Hutchinson, I think, brings some upside.
Chop, you have a defense take, a favorite defensive team, that you prefer? Is it, obviously one play? And who could predict, like what we saw yesterday with Pittsburgh, just like you just forget the rules of the onside kicks, not onside kicks. You can't predict these things.
Yeah.
You get yourself a free touchdown. I think that was the rookie, right? The rookie for Pittsburgh that just kind of goofed there on special teams. But and you get a free touchdown out of it. I think the defenses in the Tampa-Houston game are better, but they're also going to be, probably more owned. You tell me. You have a lean? Is it just dart throwing basically with defenses?
Yeah, I think you're throwing darts tonight with these because I just like you said, crazy things have to happen for a defensive touchdown. If you don't get a defensive touchdown, then you're going to need a whole lot of those turnovers or sacks, that kind of stuff. And on this slate, I'm just analyzing these defenses against these quarterbacks, and I just don't think that's going to be there tonight. So I think you're really close. If nobody scores a touchdown, I think we're just packed in there defensively. I don't think it's even going to matter. But if you wanted me to rank them, I'd probably go Houston 1, Tampa 2, and those could switch, but I'll take Houston because they're at home, and then the Chargers, and then the Raiders 4th. But I think that no big touchdowns, and then I think they're all about the same.
If you want to add anything, Tim, by all means, go for it. I see another question in chat from Alexander the Don. 3,200 and change left in flex. Is there someone other than Dalton? Dalton Schultz, that would be a double tight end build. Is there anybody else you like? 3-2 or less?
I like Sterling Shepard, Xavier Hutchinson, but I prefer Shepard over Hutchinson. And Schultz is fine. I think Schultz might be like your kind of like cash type play. So I'm not saying that you can't play him. He's fine, but he's going to be around 25%, whereas Shepard and Hutchinson are going to be under 10. Shepard's probably going to be under around 5. So I'd prefer taking a shot on Shepard if you're looking for like a ceiling type play in GPP.
Well, you're playing Bowers in cash though. I know what you're saying about Schultz. Like there's not a lot of.
No, well, he's right. I understand, but he's talking about flex.
Yeah. He probably has Bowers as well. Yeah, probably has Bowers and Schultz. Yeah. I gotcha. I have another cash question, so I'll ask Tim as well because I know Tim is more in those cash streets. Andrew wants to know Collins or Evans DK cash. You have a preference amongst those two?
You're playing Collins in cash.
Let's see our poll question. Should the tush push be banned? 58% say no. There it is. I don't know if that's a big enough majority, but let's get the commissioner on the line. I don't know if it's a big enough sample size. Over 100 votes there. More votes than likes, probably. I have not checked, but that's hateful. That's hurtful. Hit that like button. Let's see. Other comments going on in chat. Jim's talking about low ownership to White. I think White, I should say, Rachaad White. There's 2 Whites, right? There's Amir White as well. I think Rachaad White is probably the best backup running back. If you're going to pick one of these, it's not the greatest pool, but that would probably be my preference.
Woody?
Donnie wants. What do you got? I don't know how, because Dari's there. They have a terrible offensive line. Dari might be ahead of Woody right now. I think they might trust him a little bit more. We'll see. Maybe this as the season progresses. Chop, we kind of touched this earlier. Donnie wants to know how much salary you're leaving on DK, which is okay. I have lineups over 3K. Is that too much?
No.
I don't think that's crazy. I think
No,
it's
you
crazy.
can leave whatever you want left over tonight. I don't think it matters one bit.
Hammer wants to know anyone on McDonkey. I assume that's a reference to Lad McConkey. Is that are we taking shots at Lad? Is that what's happening here?
I think so. Yeah.
I mean, people are on Lad McConkey for sure. Tim, the running backs on FanDuel, Flying Armbar wants to know. You were saying it's pretty similar, FanDuel and DK. Do you have any leans amongst Genty, Hampton, Irving? Those are the pretty clear top three. Chubb's right there too, but I'm least enthused about him.
I mean, it's the guys that you think it would be. It would just be Bucky, Genty, Hampton. I think the more important question is, I can't imagine playing Nick Chubb over Hampton, but I mean, that's what the field's going to think also. So maybe you could take shots on Nick Chubb, maybe because, if they do get the ball to the 2-yard line, they're just going to give it to Nick Chubb and bam, there's your TD that you need on FanDuel. Obviously, optimals everywhere are giving you Bucky, Genty, and Hampton. I think you also have to ask yourself, do you want to play just 2 of these running backs to get a little bit different? I think that's another decision that you can make. But really, if I have to choose just one of these, like who's my favorite straight up, I think it's Genty.
Tim, I have a single entry question for you, single contest entry. It's Doug Harrelson. He's asking, would you change your build if it used 100% of your salary in a 19,000 lineup? 19,000 lineup single entry. That's pretty fun. I mean, it depends, because if you have there's many ways to get to 50K. Right?
I was just gonna say, I would look at like who those players are, what their ownership is. If you're playing all chalky guys, maybe I would, but if you have 1 or 2 of these 5% flyers in there, I'd say run with it. It's not like you can't win or not solo ship with using all your salary, but it's definitely is very, very player dependent.
I just was pointing out he followed up with this comment I put up too. He's just worried to see that he thinks he might be duped.
Yeah, I mean, if you're playing all chalky players and you use all your salary, there's a really good chance you're going to be duped. But if you take a low owned shot here or there on some of these, what I would say one of these, dirt cheap wide receivers.
Yeah.
I don't know if you'll be duped. I'm not sure.
If you have like Jay on the well, and I'm not saying Jay on the well is a good play, but if you have Jay on the well, you might not get duped.
Right.
As you said, the field's massive.
Yeah.
Chop, Schrader family, they want to know, the entire family, they're relying on you here, Chop. Allen or Igbukwe. Herbert is the quarterback. We have Herbert as our quarterback. Do we like Igbukwe or we like Allen? We're going to continue the stack there with Herbert.
Herbert? Okay, I don't know what the rest of the lineup looks like, though. What other pieces do you have with Herbert? You know what I mean? I
can't tell you the entire. Let's say he's got one piece already with the Chargers. He's got one of like maybe McDonkey.
So if I've already got a piece with Herbert, then I probably want to get away from Allen. I would rather have the other side of that over Allen. I mean, that's just me. I'm banking on Allen being somewhat popular tonight because of the week 1 thing, but yet in the back of my mind, I still think it was just maybe a little bit fluky. So, yeah, I want to get away from Allen tonight.
Chop, do we have plums on a 2-game slate? I know you do the plums on a one gamer. I'm just asking. Don't force the plums. I can give you have them. Okay.
We got 3 minutes till kickoff. So if you want my plums play tonight, like I'm going Omari and Hampton. I think the volume is going to be there. I know the talent's there. I know the desire to run the ball is there. It's only a matter of time. So fill it in the plums. Give me some Omari and Hampton.
Do you have any anti-plums? Is there a player that's going to be well-owned that you're under the field on distinctly?
Wow, an anti-plum.
What is an anti-plum?
Anti-plum.
Deflated plums.
Deflated plums, man.
Yeah.
Some guys deal with deflated plums. It happens. Yeah. Thinking, I'm just looking at it real quick. I mean, it might be the Keenan Allen thing. It might be Keenan Allen. The other rest of these guys, I'm not necessarily very low on. So maybe Keenan Allen.
Tim, you got a plums play. I don't know if Roscoe is lurking anywhere close to you. You can summon Roscoe. Who's your favorite?
Sterling Shepard is my plums play.
That is a bold take. Is he in your single entry lineup?
I'm like doing like a 2v2 right now.
Okay.
But like I would try to get overweight him if I was playing like the $20 Millie Maker or 500K up top tournament tonight, the lotto stuff.
Yeah.
I really like him. And he's not going to be chalky at all. So I think he's a really strong GPP play.
Good luck with the football. Football is going to disappear. We're talking baseball now. We have about 40 minutes or so until the baseball slate kicks in. Appreciate y'all asking football questions. I assume there's a Venn diagram, and a lot of y'all are sticking with us. If not, good luck. Enjoy the football. Okay, let's talk about tonight's 7-gamer as far as baseball, as I bring my baseball stuff in. We are clean when it comes to weather, unless has anything changed throughout the show? Yeah, Ross says we're good. We're green in Minnesota. We're green in St. Louis. I saw Spencer Steer. He's got a neck, so he cannot play baseball tonight. He has been scratched. Pitching's not amazing. It's not amazing. You know, Carlos Rodon, one of the better pitchers in the bump. Maybe Dredger Suarez, but a tough matchup against the Dodgers. But not as tough as maybe you might think, because Will Smith is out for the Dodgers. No Will Smith. He's on the IL. And, Rangers awesome versus lefties. And two of the best hitters for LA, Ohtani and Freeman, hit from the left side. So I think there is a path to success. On the other side, I like Sheehan as well. Those are two of my favorites. And again, it's not that hard. Just like it's not that hard to pay up for some of the football studs. I think you can get to the top pitchers pretty easily. The Yankees look pretty clearly like the best offense. Really bummed there's no Ben Rice. If you had Rice in your lineup, scratch him out. He's not starting today. He was one of my favorite plays on the board, taking on Simeon Woods-Richardson. Not just Simeon Woods-Richardson, but the worst bullpen in all of baseball is behind them. Like, they are an absolute disaster. We talk about this every single show, and you're locked in for 9. You're guaranteed 9 innings. That 9th inning, assuming the Yankees are up, you're probably going to get a putrid arm for Minnesota. Tim, give me the lay of the land. How do you see tonight's slate? I'm just giving a refresh. I think we have all the lineups. Have we got Philly? Maybe we don't have Philly just yet. Philly playing on the West Coast. Apparently Anthony Banda is opening for Sheehan. I'm just seeing that now for the first time. I don't know when that happened, but the projected presumed long man is Sheehan, and we're seeing Banda as the opener versus Philly, which is smart because he's a lefty, and Philly starts off presumably with Schwarber and Harper. Tim, what is your overview as far as the baseball slate?
Yeah, baseball is actually a pretty nice slate. I wish contests were a little bit better, but I know that NFL kind of dominates everything now. So I'm just playing in a smaller 121 tonight. But it's I think it's actually a pretty interesting slate. Like you mentioned, there's really no weather to be worried about. I looked at Weather Edge. The Cardinals game is a little bit of a nice boost to hitters, but not massive. It's not like a huge boost, but it is going to be, I think, in the high 80s there. So that's something to maybe consider for some taters later on in the show, or maybe to get some one-offs in that game. But yeah, so pitching is, it's not fantastic, but it's not horrible either. I think Carlos Rodon is probably your cash game guy. He's definitely going to be the most popular pitcher on the slate. I don't think he's a must play though. I don't think he's some kind of like must have. I know that it's a pretty good matchup, but I don't think that like you have to plug him in. I kind of prefer Kyle Bradish for $500 less and 9,200. He's going to be around 25% versus Rodon's going to be around 40. So you get a nice ownership discount as well. He definitely has a ceiling, despite the fact that he's probably not going to throw over 85 pitches. So I kind of like Bradish on the high end. Ranger Suarez is definitely viable. It's just I think that, I guess I'm just a little bit nervous with his matchup against the Dodgers. Like I know that Suarez has been really, really good, but I think that I'm going to be looking at Zach Gallen actually as my SP2. So I think it's Rodon, Gallen, and cash, and then for me it's going to be Bradish and Gallen in single entry. Trey Savage at 7,500 making his debut against the Rays. I think he's
amazing name. Savage, what an incredible name.
Is that how you pronounce it? It's Savage, right?
Yeah,
okay.
It's Savage. Yeah, I went and I saw an interview of him when he was younger. Well, I guess every interview of him would be when he was younger. But and they introduced his name, and Savage. I'm sure people are gonna have fun with that last name.
I think
incredible
he's
amount of strikeouts, a lot of walks too. But yeah, he's a big time prospect. I think he was 35 in baseball. I didn't mean to cut you off and just run with it, but I got excited about you, Savage. Looks like a really, really live arm, but it's, as you see many times, not fully harnessed, not a complete project, but there is certainly some skill there. It's just that sometimes he doesn't know where the baseball goes. And first game jitters, you never really know, but lean into it for tournaments, I think, on both sides. The other thing is he hasn't pitched more than 3 innings in like a couple weeks. So I don't know how fully stretched out he is. He's been kind of, it's 65, 70 pitches his last time out. I guess he was pretty wild. So I wouldn't expect more than 5 unless he's being like incredibly efficient. And one thing I wanted to touch on, not to kind of steal this from you, but the Rodon thing, you got Julian in the lineup. Julian is horrendous versus lefties as far as making contact, 36% strikeouts. You have Peralta in there, a lot of strikeouts. And then there's Carson McCusker in there. Oh, there's Roscoe. Shout out to Roscoe. We mentioned Roscoe.
There he is.
Roscoe makes an appearance. McCusker, I was looking at the projected strikeouts in the majors. A big sample, obviously. The bat has him striking out at 37% in the majors. So on the back end of this lineup for Minnesota is a lot of upside for Rodon potentially to rack up some strikeouts. But I was kind of with you. Like, I didn't feel like I have to play him, but he does look better when you look at this Minnesota lineup. Chop, jump in here. Your assessment. Is this your first time seeing Roscoe, Chop? You seem a little startled.
Yeah, it's the first time I think I've seen Roscoe. It looks like a neighborhood cat we have. Interesting. Yeah. What are we talking about? Some pitchers?
Just you want to give me the overall assessment, and then feel free to talk about some pitchers. After that, we'll knock out we're gonna do. We have time for tiers. We'll be efficient. We'll be quick.
Yeah.
We're not.
I had to really like the willpower, Dean. When you were talking about McCusker, I had some willpower right there to not make the joke I was gonna make.
Now I have to try to figure out what kind of joke you're making. I have to, work
backwards. Nothing bad. Okay. Like McCusker, barely even newer. Some McCusker, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, I ran one lineup tonight on DraftKings, Dean, in single entry and stuff like that. I used Rodon and Bradish. Rodon was pretty. Like I'm with all the everything y'all said about Rodon. I hold to be true also. But on this slate, I just don't see the other options, man. So it's not like I wanted to play Rodon, but I didn't see very many other. So he's a good option, but at the same time, I could have faded him on a better slate. But tonight, I just don't see it. So I use Rodon. I use Bradish for a little bit of upside. Even though he's back and the pitch count is a little bit worrisome, he's still got that massive strikeout potential. And on this slate, running down the other guys like Gallen, San Fran's red hot. Good offense. Don't know, and they're out of San Francisco. It's in Arizona, so that's an upgrade for them. Don't like that one. Lytle's, he's rough, man. He's rough this year. Sheehan is the other best pitcher there, but again, we're talking about Philly now. Philly in LA where they're hitting bombs this year at night for some reason. We all know why, but so I don't know that I want to go the Sheehan route. And Ranger Suarez for the same thing. You're taking on LA. Great pitcher, but you're taking on LA in a place where they're hitting more home runs than any other team in baseball right now. So all these things lead me to believe that really Rodon and Bradish are the two guys I really want tonight. So that's where I went with my single entry stuff.
Ohtani, Betts, Teoscar, Freeman, and then it really falls off for the Dodgers. Alex Call in the 5-hole. Muncie's hurt. Also a lefty. He probably wouldn't play anyway. Rojas. No, I'm sorry. Muncie's in. He's back. He got hit the other day, but he's good to go. They just buried him in the 7-hole. Call, Rojas, Muncie, Pajes, and then, of course, Chucky Robinson. Of course. Chucky Robinson doing the catching tonight. Yeah, because Dalton is hurt, right? So they're on their 3rd catcher now for the Dodgers. Just saw EDLC is batting 7th tonight. He's been really bad versus lefties. And so I know this Reds lineup's not good. And, of course, he's got wheels when he gets on. The power has been really bad versus lefties this year, taking on Liberatore. I did see that game is hot, expected to be close to the 90s for what it's worth. Anything else of note we should say as far as pitchers? How deep are we going to go when it comes to the pitching pool? Jump into my ownership stuff right now, currently on DK when it comes to pitchers. You got to roster 2 of them. 2 of these 14 most popular on the board is Rodon Oh, you know what? That's FanDuel. That's the same case over there as well. 28% for Rodon on FanDuel. DK, I assume, is going to play out the same thing. Yeah, we got 41% of Rodon. Bradish at 26%. Gallen at 25%. Sheehan at 20%. You savage. 18%. I like Suarez at 17%. And then, Chop, you got your guy Jason Alexander. Leiter's been pretty decent.
Whoa. We need to give him an apology, Dean. We were totally besmirching him for weeks on this show.
Are we sure he's good though, or he's just got to be lucky?
No, he's not good, but he's making it happen. He's making it happen, and he's giving them innings when they need it because of all the injuries. So we besmirched him, but he's got like a 2.53 ERA or some crazy number like that.
He didn't even want to be a pitcher growing up. He always wanted to be an architect. He always talked about it. He always wanted to be an architect.
Oh, nice.
And then he just ended up, I guess I'll play. He was a GM, just a cup of coffee as far as the GM's house as well for the Yankees. But he's been good. Tip of the cap for sure. I'm not going to roster him. And like I said, the ERA is at 4. The Sierra is 4.45. He's the BABIP at 264. A little bit lucky as far as homer to fly ball, but just not as vulnerable as I thought. You can't get him with lefties though. If you're gonna attack him,
he's vulnerable, Dean.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
I remember seeing him in the majors in a couple of years.
Like he nibbles on the outside corner. Oh, you didn't go for that one because it was a foot outside. Then he'll get it like 6 inches closer and nibble again. Oh, you didn't bite? Okay, I'm going to hit the outside corner with it and make you swing the bat to either weak contact or you're going to swing and miss because the next one's going to be 3 inches off the plate. I don't know. It's a weird – throws a 90 mile an hour. He's going to get lit up at some point big time. Mm-hmm. So I'm probably thinking it might be tonight. So I'm kind of
– Texas good enough to light him up is the question.
Yeah, they stink too, but I'm kind of thinking I know I'm stacking Texas tonight, but yeah, definitely I don't think I'd roster Costanza.
If you bet first touchdown for Nico, cash your tickets. Nico already got in the box.
Oh, baby!
I heard it's under review.
Oh God, dang, Dean, you didn't get Dean.
This
would be an incredible slow roll. Incredible slow roll right here.
Where did you hear it's under review? Are you watching the game on a side monitor? Where did you hear this at, Tim?
No, it's somebody said it in chat.
Oh, okay. All right. But give us the play-by-play. Let us know. I thought for sure he was in the box, and we shall see going forward. And I imagine he's one of the more popular, plays rostered on. I did not pull up ownership and things like that. But that certainly is a big deal as far as the 2-gamer. If you don't have on your main lineup, the first guy who scores a touchdown, you already feel buried. It's like, it's over. That's it. On to the next. It's a showdown, especially if you don't have the first showdown touchdown. Was there a showdown touchdown in Minnesota, Atlanta? There might have been one. I think there might have been one. That was the worst game ever.
I think it was Algier. I had Algier. I ended up only winning like 3x, but still, it was a decent night for me. Showdown. TD confirmed.
Do we want to say anything else as far as pitcher? How ambitious do we want to be? We kind of ran up the numbers. We ran up the names. You're sticking with Rodon.
Did we discuss Jack Leiter at all?
He's been okay. He's been better of late. He's taken on Chop's Astros. It's more of a question. I'm probably not picking on him. I don't know if I'm rostering him. He probably doesn't hurt you. Does he help you? What do you want to say about Leiter?
I don't know. It's just really tough because at that price, I kind of want to, but he's actually, I think he's worse against right-handed hitters, and this is a pretty right-handed heavy lineup. I'm just really conflicted because I really like that price. I don't know if I want to trust necessarily you Savage, around that same price point. Then there's also Jason Alexander at 7,700.
Yeah,
I'm just thinking about like mid-range SP2s for people to consider in GPPs tonight.
You got to take. I don't know, but Leiter.
I think I'd rank Leiter over you Savage just because of the unknown. And then I'd go you Savage and then Alexander if I had to rank those 3 guys.
My take would be, I think we're going to see some offense in this game, a lot of it. And I think that with it, this is almost like a mini playoff series because you can't afford to get swept in this thing. Either one of these teams, they're both on the fringe of the wild card. So I think there's going to be some quick hooks on these guys if they were to get it. Like 4th inning, all of a sudden Leiter gets bases loaded, 1 out. You don't get the chance to get out of it. Maybe you get Same thing with Costanza on the other end, something like that. I don't know. So I'm probably more on the offenses here than the pitchers.
All right. Chop, shall we pivot to tiers? Talk about some of our favorite teams, talk about some of our favorite stacks. And I don't know, and Tim doesn't know, as far as I know, what today's tier category is. Chop, you were kind enough to do it for us today. So open up tiers. What's the category?
Yeah, Dean. So I haven't watched the Giants-Cowboys game yesterday. Oh, buddy. The Cowboys especially. I had to give a special shout out in this tier for defensive performances over the years. So the tier board is, I guess, best and worst defensive performances over the years.
Yeah. I didn't have Nick Cannon on the board, but I see what you're doing there.
Have you seen it?
The board's been dropped. Yes, the board has been dropped.
So you
didn't stick to football necessarily, yeah.
No, just best and worst defense. So Baltimore Ravens were probably the best defense I've ever seen. Right, that was Ray Lewis and them boys. So that was
Reed,
good.
The Goose.
Oh, so good. Nobody could score on. That's how they won the Super Bowl. Defenses has there been very many better defenses than OJ's dream team? OJ got him. Allegedly, the guy did some horrible things.
How is that not number one, Chop? I mean,
it's actually a good call.
That's the greatest defense of all time.
There's
F. Lee Bailey is upset somewhere.
James Harden. I put him in the neutral category because while his one-on-one perimeter defense isn't good, there are times James Harden can get down in the post he's a big guy and he can play some good post defense. So we'll put him there. Nick Cannon method. I actually, when I wired this to Steve, it was the Nick Cannon pull-out method, but I guess we didn't have enough words. So if you're wondering what that means, we're talking Nick Cannon and his.
We all knew what that meant. I think we all knew what that meant.
18 kids. He doesn't have much defense there as far as prophylactics, but. And then the Cowboys week 2 pass coverage dead last. I've never seen anything worse than that in my life, man. I've never seen anything worse than that in my life yesterday. They pulled it out. Great, good win, but my God, guys, get that fixed.
Tim, do you have anything to add as far as this board?
This is a really fantastic tier list. I'm glad we got to do this. I would just put OJ's as number one. I don't know how the 85 Bears are not up there either.
But choices have to be made, man. But between
Singletari's not happy somewhere.
Yeah, choices.
I think of Tim. I think of hockey, and I was thinking about terrible defense. You ever see when Putin plays hockey, the goalies just let him score? Tim, you know what I'm talking about, right?
They have to, Dean. Are they not supposed? I mean, what would you do?
He should be in the 5. Yeah, I mean, just right. Yeah, open that 5-hole right away.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, that might be worse than the Cowboys week 2 pass coverage, maybe. I'm not sure. All right. We got to be efficient, boys, because there are 7 games. We have the slate locking in 20 minutes or so. So we got to be efficient. I'm going to lead off with somebody. If the other person that has no retorts or doesn't disagree, we're just going to move along, because we have to get the knockers in as well. We have all the gimmicks. We have all the fun and all the games to knock everything out in the next 20 minutes or so. We should have plenty of time if we are efficient. 7:35 is the first game here, Chop. It's Joe Boyle taking on Trey Savage. 8 is the total. Good ballpark. We like this as an offensive spot, despite it just being an 8 total here at Toronto. Taking on Joe Boyle, which may be kind of a bullpen game. I don't know how deep Boyle's going to go, but talking about the Blue Jays and the Rays.
Yeah, I'm starting off with Toronto in tier 1 right off the bat. Boom, we were starting this thing off with the bang, but. Yeah, I don't know what we're going to get out of Boyle, and if we do get anything substantial, he's just not an imposing pitcher. We're in a good hitter's park, so I'm putting him in tier 1. Tampa, I'm going in tier 2. Savage seems like he might be gathering more steam than the actual Tampa stacks. Savage is he's a nice prospect, 22 years old. He's got some good things going on, but he also has pitched a lot of innings in the minors, fatigued. You mentioned a minute ago he hadn't pitched in a while. We don't even know how long he's going to go or how effective he's going to be, right? I'm sure he's going to be amped up and, be all right. But it's just Tampa, I think, is a tier 2. I think they're a sneaky good stack tonight.
Yeah, I mean, he's pitched, just he hasn't pitched deep in a while. We're projecting 78 pitches, and I'm going to bet maybe I'm going to bet the bat's a little less than that.
I think I read that he was worked pretty heavily in the minors this year. So fatigue might be an issue.
Tim, any issues with the placements of Toronto and Tampa?
I would actually bring both of them down one tier. I just don't think Toronto quite is a top tier team, but they're still a really strong stack. And I do think Savage has enough upside and talent where I'm not going to be forcing in any Tampa Bay players. I think they're okay. So I'm going to put Tampa Bay as a James Harden tier and Toronto as in the OJ's dream team.
Yeah, you were just like Johnny Cochran. You sold me. Let's move Toronto down to OJ's dream team. But we'll keep Tampa. We'll keep Tampa there as well, and we'll scoot along. It's Baltimore and the White Sox. Tim, the board is yours. We have an opener with Tyler Gilbert. Burke is on layaway, the presumed long man for the White Sox. Bradish, who's been really good for Baltimore, taking on the White Sox here, minus 144 favorites. How do you feel about the Orioles and Chicago, the White Sox, that is?
Yeah, so Tyler Gilbert should be the opener, and then Sean Burke should be the long reliever. Either way, I think the Orioles are a top-tier team tonight. That's one of the reasons why I didn't want Toronto up there, because it's Baltimore that I would just prefer more than Toronto. I think this is a really good spot for them. Burke gives up a lot of power, so I do like the prices on some of this Baltimore stuff, and they're on the road, so you get them for the full 9. Really, really stackable team. Whether you double pay it for pitching, you can fit in a full 5-man here in Baltimore. So Baltimore's top tier. Chicago's pretty easy. I really like Kyle Bradish tonight. I don't really want to get to any Chicago, so they're at the very, very bottom in the Cowboys week 2 pass coverage tier.
Baltimore pretty intentional with their lineup too, bearing a couple of their lefties with Gilbert, the opener, probably going maybe 2, but one and change. We'll see. But yeah, like Kowser in the 9-hole. Chop, agree, disagree? How do we feel about the board?
Well, I'm going to agree, Dean, because that's kind of what we're supposed to be doing here. Is
if you disagree, it's fine.
It's a gentleman's agreement. I think Tim kind of jumped me on that first one, and
he broke the rule.
Yeah, he broke the gentleman's rule of just kind of going along with the other guy. But that's fine. Yeah, I like where he put those teams.
That's what the Cowboys had. It was a gentleman's agreement with the Giants. They both just let each other.
They definitely had a gentleman's agreement with Malik Neighbors. That's for sure.
Just checking up. Look at it. Okay. We'll move along here. The Yankees and the Twins. Chop, this is you. Woods Richardson, that terrible bullpen against Carlos Rodon. New York does have the biggest total on the board. They're locked in for 9. There is no Ben Rice, and I'm still not over it. Chop, what do you got?
Yeah, Minnesota's tier 5. I mean, Rodon's good enough. And then if it's a close game, they do have a very competent bullpen now, so I don't want to mess with that. It's a tier 5. New York, just too much power in general, so I'm going to put them in tier 1. I'm giving out tier 1s like Halloween candy tonight. I don't care.
Tier 1 for New York. Tim, yes, good. Gentleman's agreement.
I'm going to go full gentleman's agreement with this one.
Totally. I would totally agree with this.
Nobody hanging out with Nick Cannon or James Harden. Just
I wouldn't fault anybody if they wanted to take some Minnesota one-offs, but as a stack, they're definitely bottom tier.
Yeah, I don't mind Lewis as a one-off if I picked, and of course Buxton, like a little mini with Buxton, Lewis. All right, Cincinnati, St. Louis, Liberatore versus Littell. We have basically a coin toss here, 8.5 total. Both these teams 4 and change as far as their team total. Tim, Reds, Cards. EDLC in the 7-hole. What do you got?
Yeah, this is a pretty interesting game for GPPs. We talked about the weather here. The weather is pretty decent for hitting as well, but just the overall talent is I don't really like St. Louis that much. So I'm going to put St. Louis in the Nick Cannon method, and I'm going to put the Reds in the Harden tier. The Reds, Liberatore can give up home runs with the best of them. We talked about, the good hitting weather. So yeah, I mean, I don't mind getting to some Reds. Actually, can I give my tater really quick, Dean?
Sure, fire away.
Yeah, Noelvi Marte is plus 650 on DK. So he is one of the taters tonight.
Chop, is Ryan Miller related to Scotty Miller, the former receiver? Is he Scotty Miller? Wasn't he a receiver for Tampa? Who's Ryan Miller? Is this a rookie? Oh, he went to Furman. My brother went to Furman. There you go. Shout out to Furman. Ryan Miller just scored a touchdown, apparently. I don't know who that is. Should I know who Ryan Miller is?
The Ryan Miller touchdown That was just what we were talking about.
Are you kidding me?
But play the tape back. We all touted Ryan Miller, right?
Well, not necessarily Ryan Miller, but that style of a build.
The onslaught or the cheapie. Yeah, I don't have Ryan Miller officially, but yeah. Do you have one share of Ryan Miller amongst your 20? Maybe you do.
No.
But Chop, agree,
No.
disagree? Cincinnati, St. Louis.
No, I agree with that. That's fine.
He is 0.02% owned, Dean, in the $20.
How long did it take you to find? Well, you go to the leaderboard.
I just went to the top to see if anybody had him, and he's 0.02.
That's amazing.
I mean, yeah, that's
shout out to the Miller truthers.
Yeah, I mean that's going really deep on the whole.
That's the lowest
receiver
owned TD I've seen in a long time.
Chop, I know you get deep in those college, the college streets. Have you ever dug into the Paladin tape, the Furman Paladins?
No. I've heard of that college, but
yeah,
Ryan Miller, that's out there, man.
Rangers, Astros, Leiter versus Jason Alexander. Chop, you kind of talked about not really liking the skill set for Alexander. We're just not sure if Texas is the team that can get to him. Like the lefties, especially Jock Peterson, Jock Jams, hitting third. If you need a cheapie, we know that the deal, lefty comes in. Sometimes he gets the hook, but that's part of the discounted asking price. Astros, Rangers, Chop, what do you got for me?
11 minutes till MLB Live, Dean. We got to pick it up the pace. 11 minutes.
3 games.
Texas and Arizona. I got both these teams in tier 2. I just, it may be a totally wrong outlook on this game, but I just feel like, Alexander's not as good as the recent ERA says. Certainly not. And Jack Leiter has been better lately. But Houston, if you're not looking at that lineup, they're actually getting much deeper in that lineup now. It's looking a lot better, and they had some good at bats over the weekend against the Braves. And so I'm going to put both these teams in tier 2. I think there's offense tonight.
Tim, gentleman's agreement?
No, I would put them. Well, I would send them both down to the hardened tier. I think Chop made a really good point earlier in the show that this is going to be more like a playoff game. So I tend to favor the pitchers when we think that. So I'm going to go both in the middle in the hardened tier.
All right, I'll agree with Tim. I'm Chop's point argues against his ranking. Oddly enough.
No. Because I don't know if you've been paying attention to the Astros team, but they've lost 3 relievers over the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
If you have to go to
Chop's point was that he didn't like Leiter because this is going to be like a playoff game. They're going to pull him early. Same thing with Alexander. But I which is the correct thing to say, but I just don't like these offenses as much.
Yeah.
So
I would have said that about Houston about 3 or 4 weeks ago, but like Jesus Sanchez is batting 9th tonight, I think, and that's a pretty deep lineup now with these guys getting healthier and healthier. So I don't know, but yeah, and the Rangers I don't know about. Who knows? Just Costanza's so bad. He's like 90-mile-an-hour meatballs, man. He can't keep getting away with this.
Kaiwei Tang and the Giants take on the D-backs, 9 total. It is in Arizona, so it's a big upgrade, Tim. Zach Gallen on the other side. We're seeing the MLB debut for Bryce Eldridge. Shout out to him. Where do you want to put the Giants and the D-backs?
Giants are definitely bottom tier for me. I like Zach Gallen quite a bit. Kaiwei Tang, we haven't seen much of him. I'm not really that like a huge believer as like long-term skills. So I'm going to go Giants at the bottom, and I'm going to go Arizona in the middle tier because I don't think this is a horrible spot. I think getting to like Marte, Corbin Carroll, and then we've got some cheap guys like Blaze Alexander, Alec Thomas that we can play. So I actually don't hate this Arizona stat. They have a 4.7 implied team total, which is pretty strong on the slate. So I think Arizona – actually, you know what? Put Arizona in the OJ's Dream tier.
All right, Arizona, OJ's Dream Team. And we have San Fran hanging out with whatever's left of that Cowboys defense. Chop, any issues?
Nah, looks good.
You guys signed somebody. Who'd you guys sign? Clowney, right? Didn't you sign Clowney?
Yep.
All right, there you go. All right. Like it's the 2017 all over again or something.
He's been graded really good the last couple years, even in his old age, Dean. He's been graded pretty well.
Okay, we got the knockers on layaway. We have Tim's taters. Tim already fired off one. I'm not sure if he has any more. I don't know if Roscoe has any Rockets.
I've got another tater.
Okay.
Ryan Mountcastle plus 523 on DK.
523. It's a very precise number. I like it.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
Getting all technical on me. If you have any questions, get them in. Producer Steve will compile and we'll knock them out as fast as possible. We want to get Chop's knockers as well. Last game, Anthony Banda is the opener here for the Dodgers, taking on Ranger Suarez. Let's see. We did get the Phillies lineup. It's Bader, Schwarber, Harper, Realmuto, Marsh, Kemp, Kepler, Stott, and Wilson. Really, the absence of Trey Turner certainly glaring. No revenge for him today. Sheehan expected to be the long man for the Dodgers. No Will Smith for them. I believe this is Tim's board. Correct me if I'm wrong. Tim, is it yours? Phillies, Dodgers?
I can't remember, Dean, but I'll run with it if you want.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, so I don't really love either one of these teams in terms of stacks. Obviously, there's really talent all over the place on both these teams, but really just for one-offs for me, not even for like three-man, definitely no five-mans of either one of these teams for me. Ranger Suarez is a very, very competent pitcher. Sheehan's decent as well. So I'm just going to ride the fence here and go both of them in the Harden tier.
My bad, Chop. You can play us on their protest. You can hire OJ's dream team. That is my mistake. I goofed, but yeah. Any issues, any changes you want to make as far as both teams being on the fence in tier number 3, hanging out with James Harden?
No, it looks good.
All right, to recap, we got to get those knockers in a second. The VP suggestion of the day, but Chop, of course, ranked defenses. 2 teams in the top tier. It's Baltimore and the Yankees. 2000 Baltimore Ravens, tier 1. Tier 2 was OJ's dream team, which, like Tim pointed out, really should have been tier 1. Toronto, Tampa, Arizona. Tier 3, most popular tier is James Harden. Cincinnati, Houston, Texas, Philly, and the Dodgers. Nick Cannon, just one team hanging out with Nick Cannon. It's the St. Louis Cardinals, tier 4, and the Cowboys, week 2 pass coverage. That is the White Sox, the Twins, the Giants. All right, Chop, you know what the people want. They want not just the knockers. They want the old BBP suggestion of the day.
What?
Yeah. Do you have them both or no? Oh, we got music.
Suggestion of the day, Dean. I'm kind of breaking away a little bit from the normal stuff. Or I'm giving you a little peek behind the scenes. We got 5 minutes left. It's Jock Peterson, okay, is my BVP suggestion today. But if you look at his numbers, there's hardly nothing there. There's only 2 at-bats. But behind the curtains, Dean, what you don't know is we don't just go by just at-bats in the algorithm. We take into account handedness of a pitcher and batter, release point of a pitcher. This is an overhanded pitcher. Arsenal, a lot of sinkers. These are all things that favor Jock Peterson in the batter versus pitcher numbers. He loves the overhanded right-handers. He loves the sinker balls, yada, yada, yada. We're going Jock Peterson. All right, Dean, for our knockers. And where do I go with this one? I have a couple teams lined up. I was waiting on lineups. I'm just gonna go to St. Louis with it. Austin Hayes, Tyler Stevenson against the left-hander. I'm going number 4, number 6 in the order. There were some other teams that were in the mix there, but I'm gonna go with those 2 guys.
I gotta say, I learned something new every single day about the BVP algorithm. I clown it, but I did not know it factored in if pitchers throw the ball overhand or not. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
that's
every pitcher has. This would be the most over. This would be this, and then there's those guys who go sidearm closer to third base, or if you're left-handed first base. It's all factored in. Dean. It's a big algorithm. It happens.
That's crazy. Seriously, I had no clue. I just figured 2 at-bats, there's no chance you can qualify as the BVP suggestion of the day. And for the record, 2 at-bats for Jock Peterson, just a double. It's got a double against Jason Alexander. You're done, right, Tim, as far as taters? No more taters?
I gave out the 2 taters. That's all I got.
Trying to see if there's any questions in chat. There's people just sort of hanging out, but I don't see any baseball-specific questions. Yeah, there was some comparisons.
That music was fantastic, though. That was...
Thank
That
you.
was spot on. Yeah.
I think Chop produced that. I mean, I'm pretty sure he actually made that his own, the old AI.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
That was the one I was going to use for college football, but then I did another one for college football. I had that beat left over, and I was like, let's do the knockers with it. Why not?
It was pretty impressive. Yeah.
Thank you.
Tim, do you want your own music? Is that what you're saying?
I think I should have something.
Chop, can you give him some pointers for somebody? I'm just going to be presumptuous. I feel like Tim maybe not as musically inclined as you, Chop, or maybe he can't push the button.
Whoa.
That's rude.
Whoa, Dean.
I said I don't know. I don't know. Feel free to correct me otherwise. Maybe I'm wrong. It's possible.
Just
Maybe
know your
Tim can
style.
play the hell
Know
of a
your
triangle.
style. Know your style. Know what music you want, and then you
Yeah.
go from there. Get you. Don't be wishy washy with it.
There you go, Tim. We got to get you some music for the Sunday show, for the People's Show, I suppose. Maybe something for, I was going to say something for hockey, but there's no hockey shows. But, hockey Discord for sure. We're getting close, Tim. Are you getting excited for hockey?
I am getting pretty excited. I really do love hockey. I love watching hockey.
Tim, you have a single entry contest. Is it the Yankees? Are we loading up with the Yankees? What sort of bold decisions do we make in our one lineup? Is there a bold fade? I'm assuming the lineup's locked. Are we still debating?
Yeah. So what I'm doing is I'm stacking the Yankees without Judge. That's one thing that I'm doing that's a little bit different. And yeah, I don't know. I guess I am going to play you Savage in single entry. It's tough, but I'm gonna try it out tonight.
It's not very safe, right? It doesn't feel like the safe play.
It's definitely not a cash game play. This is kind of like, I don't know. I guess I did my version of like a YOLO team. Just trying to go for some ceiling.
Choppy, watching football now? Is that what we're doing?
Yeah, just checking my lineups. Unfortunately, I didn't have any Ryan Miller. I can probably close the laptop now.
Man, that's so messed up.
Yeah.
0.02%.
We are at lock here in just a second. People are just hanging out, enjoying the conversation. Not a lot of questions. I guess everything was covered with the tiers and the Rockets and the Taters and the Knockers and the BBP suggestion. I never sign off. I don't really know. Roth has got his crumble up the paper and throw it at the screen and tell the people they've been crunched. I don't have a signature sign off. It's been so long because I always just kind of throw it to Roth. But any words of wisdom?
Holler.
What do you got, Steve?
Holler.
Yeah, Holler was kind of retired because we don't really holler anymore. We can that's what we can do. Yeah, hit that like button, do subscribe, turn on notifications.
Dean, I got one for you real quick.
What do you got?
On your way out, go. See you, kids.
Is that an Efer? Is that Grant? Is that what we're doing? Shout out to Grant. Doesn't he say that?
Does he do that? Oh, I didn't know.
I feel like Grant does that. Am I making that up? Is that a reference to
Grant does that on his short videos for touchdowns and home runs.
That's what I thought. Yeah, I thought that was a shout out. You were doing an homage to Grant without even know it. But yes, hit that like button. You're on your way out. We do appreciate it. We'll be back, I presume, normally scheduled time tomorrow. I've not taken a peek, but I assume we're back to normal on Tuesday. Still 2 more weeks of grinding regular season of baseball. Lots of football out there. Soon enough, we'll be talking basketball, which is, I know, Chop, we've had this conversation before, and it's the greatest pitch. Start the basketball season on Christmas Day. That's the day to start it, and then they're not going to do it. Apparently, it doesn't seem like they're doing it, but yeah, we're getting it well before Halloween. I think the 22nd is when basketball starts, which I agree with you, Chop. Probably not the best decision. And we got to sign off and get out of here. But I want to talk about Kawhi Leonard with somebody. So I'm so in that story. I'm so fascinated by the Kawhi Leonard story. I've listened to all the Pablo Torre finds out stuff on it, and give yourself if you have a couple hours, give it a Google. It's a really interesting rabbit hole. All right, for Tim, for Steve, for Chop, for Chat, for OJ's defense team. Appreciate y'all. Thanks for watching. We're out of here. Holler. See you, kids.